Welcome to this evening's concert and introductory panel, which honor the legacy of Eileen Southern, a path-breaking scholar of African American music. In 1976, Southern became the first Black woman tenured in Harvard's Faculty of Arts and Sciences. My name is Carol Oja, and I'm among the leaders of the Eileen Southern Initiative, which has been a shared endeavor undertaken by various Harvard entities, most notably the Department of Music, the Harvard Library, Office for the Arts, and the Radcliffe Institute. It's my great pleasure this evening to introduce Emmett G. Price III, Dean of Africana Studies at the Berklee College of Music and visiting Associate Professor of Music at Harvard, who will chair this evening's panel. Professor Price is a music scholar, performer, composer, and ordained minister, and he will introduce our panelists. Be aware that the audience is going to be filtering in as our panelists speak, so we'll all just try to stay focused on the stage. So thanks so much to all of you, and enjoy the conversation.
Well, good evening. And before you leave, Professor Oja, we want to thank you for your wisdom and your vision for putting this on. 50 years ago, the academic year 1971-1972, one of the greatest magnum opus was published. The book was called The Music of Black Americans. The author, Dr. Eileen Southern. And that book, by itself, has revolutionized the way that we think, the way that we experience, the way that we engage, the way that we compose, the way that we research, the way that we even experience Black music. And not just domestically, but internationally. And I'm glad to have four phenomenal colleagues here as we explore and engage the importance of not just the book, but the author especially. I'm going to ask a few questions here. We have three themes that we want to think about. And these themes will help us to begin to prepare ourselves for this phenomenal concert that we will experience this evening under the banner of Lift Every Voice. We have some of the most world-renowned performers and aggregated choirs here. But more importantly, we have some phenomenal human beings who will lift up their spirits and share their hopes and their dreams, their pains and their cares and their aspirations with you, with the hope that it would join yours as we create a phenomenal symphony tonight together. To my far left, Dr. Rosephanye Dunn-Powell, one of the leading composers of this generation, just a phenomenal woman, as I said earlier in our class, in the Maya Angelou spirit of phenomenal women. She is professor of voice and a number of other things at Auburn University. And if you've never experienced her or her work before, I invite you to go to Google, type her name in, and be wowed. To my left is Dr. Marques L.A. Garrett, assistant professor of music, choral activities, University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Another phenomenal human being whose gift of writing, even at a young age, I might say, has been an inspiration and empowering for so many, literally around the world. To my right, Dr. Felicia Barber, who is at Westfield State here in Massachusetts, a true gem whose latest publication will blow your minds, as it has blown the minds of many who have studied spirituals for a long time. I invite you, if you have not yet, please put these three individuals' names in your Google search and be wowed by who they are and what they've done. And then, the phenomenal, special person, all the way at my right, who will graduate from Harvard University, and might I add, Berklee College of Music, in 2023, Devon Gates is a phenomenal composer, even at an early age, whose music is challenging us to think, to feel, and to experience things that we may not have thought, felt, or experienced before. So, to this phenomenal panelist, I want to ask you this question. Where did you first engage, either in the person or the work of Dr. Eileen Southern, and what has that engagement done for you? And as you think about that, I'll share that 20 years after the publication of the book, I was a student at the University of California, Berkeley, studying with the great composer and scholar, Dr. Ollie Wilson. And Dr. Wilson had a two-part course on survey of African American music, and the textbook for both parts, fall semester and spring semester, you had to take together, was this book, The Music of Black Americans. That was the only textbook. And we still use that book as literally the greatest resource of studying African American music. Dr. Powell, when did you first engage either the person or the work, and what has that done for you?
Well, for me at Alabama State University in Montgomery, Alabama, which is a historically black university, every professor had that book in their office. And the joke was, I mean, it really wasn't a joke, but it told you the impact of Eileen Southern upon each of us. You weren't considered a serious student of music unless you had the music of Black Americans. And coming from the South, I had no idea as an African American woman that African American women did this. So the things that I do today, I call her a heroine, because she opened my mind up to the intellect of music and all that we as African Americans had contributed to American music. Before her book, we didn't know. We didn't even know. We thought whatever we had was just our music. But the music and the history that she gave us, it became the foundation for every paper, dissertation, thesis. It started with me first going to the music of Black Americans, a history.
Dr. Garrett.
Wow. It's great to know that I've been validated as a musician because I have that book, as I'm supposed to. But I think about my time at Hampton University, another historically black college and university, where, yes, every one of my teachers had a copy of that book. And without realizing it, everything that I did there was impacted, was a result of that single publication. And I did not dig into the book until I went to graduate school, because I realized that leaving this wonderful aggregation of people that looked like me, that identified quite similarly, and then going to another institution for graduate school where they did not, and realizing that all of the composers and the styles of music that I had learned while at Hampton, none of them knew about. I then said, okay, well, every one of my papers needs to be about this. And so every time I had to do some research, I got to go back to that book. And knowing that I have a worn copy in my office is confirmation, and it's also inspiring, because it lets me know that in this day and age, 50 years later, with all of the wonderful technology that we have now, that I too can do something like that, looking up to the powerful woman that we know as Eileen Southern.
Dr. Barber.
I have a different experience. I did not attend a historically black college, and I actually discovered it through self-discovery. My voice teacher, when I was actually vocal performance, one of my first voice teachers gave me the collection of H.T. Burleigh voice, and I actually discovered through trying to do research Eileen's book. So it was through self-discovery and wanting to know more about this music and being so fascinated because I was a child of the church, which is most African Americans experience, and my mother was the church pianist, and so I had grown up with this music of gospel music and African American spirituals surrounded, but didn't know the historical value. And so through that's really how I discovered her book. And then in graduate school, I actually had one of my first African American professors, and that's why it's again so important representation. Actually, hand me my own personal copy, and then I was able to delve into it even more.
The phenomenal Devon Gates.
Oh my gosh. It's just honestly amazing just to hear from you all and to be up here. I actually learned about Dr. Southern this year. I'm a junior, and I mean, I didn't even know what ethnomusicology was or that you could, study music in a way that contextualized it against like broader frameworks when I entered college, let alone study Black music. And so it's been a really amazing journey through incredible professors at Berkeley and in the music department here of introducing me to this amazing world of thought and leadership. And I was actually asked by Dr. Oja to participate in this documentary short film project about Dr. Southern, and that's how I got my copy of the book and started to delve into it, which is also a little terrifying to be asked to write a score for a short film about a person I had just learned about who was clearly, phenomenal and just like a seminal person in the canon. But I really appreciate the opportunity and the trust and mainly the mentorship that I've been able to receive.
Awesome. One of the things that we know about Dr. Southern is that as much as we celebrate her now, her early career was not storybook by any means. And we can honor, and literally the book that she wrote that we're talking about was published in 1971. She didn't come to Harvard until 1976. And the first 10 years of her academic career, she was at historically Black colleges and universities and literally was at about 10 of them in 10 years. And it's clear that it's not because she wasn't qualified. It's not because she didn't have intellectual acumen. It's not because she didn't have integrity. So can we talk about the HBCU experience? And perhaps, maybe I'll sit here with the two of you on my left. Both of you have attended and also taught and have taught and currently teach at HBCUs. Can you tell us about the significance of that experience and perhaps differential between the HBCU experience and a non-HBCU experience?
Thank you for allowing me to go first. Well, I guess I touched a little bit on the difference and how it was expected at a historically Black college that we would do the music of people that look like us. And when I started doing my greatest or most time-consuming amount of research in the past few years, I had a talk with one of my mentors, Roland Carter, about why historically Black colleges have been doing this music, the music of Black Americans, so much, but then when I go into these other spaces, it's like, what? As I still remember being in graduate school and an undergraduate student being surprised that I was in the library downloading articles on art songs by Black composers. Because the comment was, you mean Black people have written things other than spirituals? Now, I don't blame him for not knowing. He was a student. He only knew what was taught to him. And I don't only blame his teachers and that kind of stuff, but it just got me to thinking. There's so many things, and Dr. Carter said the reason that HBCUs have been doing this and continue to do it is because we have so many of the composers there. And he talked about how someone like Undine Smith Moore would write a piece for Virginia State College, now university. Carl Harris would premiere it, and then he would call Roland Carter, or he'd call Nathan Carter, or Carl Smith, and just say, hey, guess what? I just did this piece. You need to do it. And then they would send it to each other. And so the music, sometimes it just stayed there. And it really, again, it wasn't until I went to a predominantly white institution where I realized that my experience was so unique. And after graduating from that institution and going back to teach at an HBCU, I then said, I now have my mission to ensure that my students get the best of both worlds. We're going to learn the Bach and Brahms and Mozart and all of that. But you're going to know our Undine Smith Moores and our Nathaniel Detts and Hall Johnsons and Florence Prices, because that music is just as good, sometimes better, than those other folks. So, yes.
And I will add that for me, and I imagine for you, the HBCU, for the African American, it's like you step out of high school and then you step in this world. First of all, there's the nurturing. And the majority of people look like you. But in the tradition of the African American community coming out of slavery, everybody was family because everybody had been sold from one plantation to another. So people ask all the time, wow, why do y'all call each other sister and brother? What's up, brother? What's up, sister? Well, that's because everybody was family, because when your mother got sold to another plantation, the mother on that plantation became your mother. When your sister got sold away, or brother, or you got sold away when you went to the next plantation, someone adopted you into your family. So black people came to know each other as family. You go to the HBCU, that's what you got there. The majority of the professors adopted you. But not only that, many of us would leave from those institutions to go to white institutions, and what we were able to take with us was a sense of our blackness. So I can go and learn about Bach and Beethoven, I can learn about Verdi, but I can also take with me, because my dissertation, my thesis and master's was on William Grant Still. I learned about William Grant Still at the HBCU. Well, I was able to take that research into Westminster Choir College, whereas had I not known about him, I probably would have researched someone differently. So I guess I can sum that up in saying the HBCU is a place of, I think, safety for many of us, and then it prepares us to step out in the world, learn the Western traditions of music, and then infuse our own traditions within that, which gives us a particular flavor.
For the three of us who did not attend historically black college or university, or not teach at them either, where did the two of you discover your voice, or are discovering your voice in your own realized embodied experience for who you are, contextualized through the gift that you have? How has that process been for you?
I'll just start. I just finished researching for so long. The book that you mentioned, thank you so much, was really reflective of 10 years of my life. It just came out in October, but I really engrossed myself in the historical research and went to Hampton University and just went through the library, everything in the library. Fisk, went through everything in the library. And so for me, it has been self-discovery in going to those places, the Center for Black Music Research, and finding out the history of all of these greats, like Florence Price collection and our Nathaniel Dett. And every time I'd find something, I got even more excited. Or when I started, even going to the Library of Congress, I was at the Library of Congress for months, going through everything that had anything to do with an African-American spiritual, from reels to cylinders to recordings and hearing about, I was telling someone, I think the other day, when we talk about this oral tradition that's in African American music, and to hear over 100 years ago, songs that I learned as a child and still sing in church services, and songs that are still being arranged, being sung over 100 years ago on these recordings, it just kind of infuses you with such a sense of who you are and who your people are. And to know that this rich tradition is continuing, I get excitable, so I'm going to calm down. But for me, the self-discovery and kind of delving into all of this has really, really ignited a fire in myself to continue research so that more and more people can have access to this music.
Yeah, and I personally very much appreciate the work that you all do to bring this knowledge, because it really does open new worlds for many of us that get to encounter it, maybe for the first time. It's interesting, I am coming to this world of Black choral music from by way of being a jazz musician. So, having sung having sung gospel, having sung since I was very young, really everything and everything, and then heading towards a more instrumental jazz perspective, and then just now coming back is really interesting because it presents a lot of questions about self-discovery and, okay, what do I do with these different traditions and how do I try to meld them in a way that seems organic to me and isn't trying to be someone, but also is, informed by so many of the musicians from all of these different forms of Black American music that I'm inspired by, and mix it with vocal tradition. And it's been really such an amazing process of just being able to try to put things on a page, not even really knowing what they might sound like, and also working with the Collegium, which has been such a great collaboration, and I think is a new thing for both of us, because the Collegium is singing something that they might not have, in a style that they might not sing all the time, and of course I'm not used to singing in a choral format, being at the front at all. So it's been a lot of new firsts, and I'm just trying to roll with it, I guess.
The phenomenal Devon Gates. I want to ask, by way of suggesting a statement and having you fill in the rest of the statement. Okay, and I'm going to give you just this is going to be a rapid fire moment here. But the statement is this: the Black musician as intellect, ... Dr. Powell, how would you continue that statement? I see those eyes. Now, I didn't go to a HBCU, but I see those eyes.
Would you repeat the question?
Absolutely. I saw the eyes. How do you respond? Perhaps a first reaction, perhaps a gut response to the statement, the Black musician as intellect, ...
I have to think about that one.
That's a fair response. Dr. Garrett, to you.
I think about how many of us, no matter what institution that we attended, but especially if we are, as part of our journey, we decide that we're going to be at a predominantly white institution, we are expected to be an expert on anything that is related to the color of our skin when it comes to music. So I see the Black musician as an intellectual, or with their intellect, as someone who, whether they want to or not, is often forced to know more than they may want to. We're required to speak many different languages to ensure that everyone is able to understand. So we can go to the Black church and we can do all the stuff. we can just start singing like we did in your class this morning. We can just sing, "Victory is mine." We can harmonize. We know which rhythms that we're going to add to it. We know, if someone is playing, we know if there's going to be a little turnaround. Nobody has to give us a little cue. But then we also have to understand when a conductor's hand goes down, in, out, and up, when they do this, what are the things that need to be done? And we need to be able to do that as well. We also need to ensure that when we write, it has to be in such a way that people are not going to scrutinize us simply because the topic is not something that they're very comfortable with. And I'm grateful that so many people before us decided that they were going to push the boundaries by writing theses and dissertations on works and people and ideas that their advisors and their committees initially said, no, you can't do that because it's not scholarly enough. So I see us as being people who have to do so much, but have the same amount of time as others.
And the reason that it took me a moment to think is because historically, what you ask to me was the impetus for why Southern wrote her book. Yes. Because what she wanted to do was to correct the story. So the story was really, okay, black people make music, during the time of Jim Crow, you had minstrelsy where we were made fun of, and only thing we could do was sing spirituals, gospel music, and play jazz. What she brought to it and informed people was that black people had been intellectual about music since we arrived. And what I mean about that is so much of what we were creating was being credited to others, but we were creating it. So when she authored her book, and before she authored it, the question was raised to her. When she said she wanted to teach this course in African American music and she wanted to write this book, the question was posed to her, which is the question you're asking. Well, what is there to black music besides spirituals and jazz? I want you to hear that question says, well, what have black people done that's intellectual? And that book made clear to everyone, because at that time, people were crediting white people with jazz. And we can go down the line. When you look at Debussy and his Gollywog's Cakewalk, that was taken from a black man. But with the black man, it was called jazz, but with Debussy, it was called classical music. So we were doing all of this intellectual stuff, but it took Eileen Southern to put it in print, and everybody then said, wow.
You know how sometimes when you're cooking and you got to let something marinate? Y'all just experienced that right there. Dr. Barber, the black musician as intellect, ...
I think Dr. Powell summarized it, a lot of what I was thinking. But one of the things I think is so significant about Dr. Southern's book is what you just articulated, that she wrote it down and she gave evidence in such detail so that you cannot, if you read it, you cannot, say that these things are not and continue to discredit us. One of the things that I kind of came across when I was doing my own research was constant books that were written by people outside of the community on our music, and it would describe the music in less than positive terms and say all of these negative connotations, yet here is the music. But what Dr. Southern did was to amplify and magnify what we were doing. and what we were not getting, as you said, credited for years. And we can talk about cultural appropriation and get into another thing. One of the things I would like to talk about, and something I'm passionate about, in music education curriculum is that, we can constantly, even at the university level, talk about having these classes on, music history. But what we actually, most of the time at most universities are teaching is European history. And so why is not a Southern book a staple, right along with Grout, in every single college and university in this country? And that's why... so that we can see the value that is of African American music, along with, it's not to take away from, but at some point we've got to recognize that we can't continue to say that we want things diverse and we want to say that we're trying to make space for world music or urban music or African American music. We're still labeling and still not give the value in time and investing in the students and giving them the opportunity to learn at a college or university that is not an HBCU. And so one of the things that I find so it almost brings me to tears about her book is the empowerment that it gives to our community. I think that's the ... I'd like to leave with.
Woo! That was what we call a mic drop moment. Now don't drop the mic. Don't drop the mic. These are good mics here. Don't drop the mic. The phenomenal Devon Gates, the black musician as intellect, ...
I mean, I really don't have much to add, except that, maybe the black musician as intellect is embodied in a way that, sometimes I don't feel reflected at me in other spaces. Just a recognition of interpretation of a piece of art, not only meaning like what you might write in response, but also like what your body does in response to it instantaneously at that moment, and the value in that, and like the vitality in that, and like the potentiality of that. It's generative. It's a creative act in a way that inspires me every day. So I would also say that the black musician as intellect contains multitudes in that way. Just so much creative energy. It's overwhelming, and it's awe-inspiring.
Final question for three of you here. Tonight we have some phenomenal musicians who are going to grace us with not only their voices, but their beings. And they are going to embody and serve as vessels for the music that has been written. There are some commissioned pieces tonight. Some new pieces that have never been heard before and literally have never been performed before because they were written for this evening's concert. And we have three composers tonight who have written new music for you. So, Dr. Powell, can you tell us a little bit about the piece or pieces that we will hear from you? And perhaps you can suggest to us what we might listen for, or what the inspiration was, or just a little behind the scenes to help us to whet our palate just a bit so we can taste what you are delivering tonight.
Well, my three works, there are three short movements, and the work is entitled Quiet Revolutionary. And that is because Dr. Samuel Floyd, who started New Perspectives in Music and was influenced by Dr. Southern, in her latter days, as he was interviewing her, preserving interviews about her life, he wrote in essays to her. He wrote about her life, and the first essay was entitled Eileen Southern, the Quiet Revolutionary. And he said that she was a gentle woman And her revolution was that she was overturning the misconceptions about black music through this one book and then through her journal. So my songs came out of this work. So I make the first movement of this short work is called Quiet Revolutionary. And what you will hear in that particular song is jazz harmonies, because everyone was impressed that in her book she covered jazz so thoroughly. Since she was a musicologist and had studied Renaissance music, they assumed that popular music and jazz would not be covered, but she covered it well. So I decided that the first movement, you will hear jazz colors, and I used only 2 words: quiet, revolutionary. That is the text. And I'm hoping that you will hear in the jazz colors that, and in the piano introduction and throughout, this song paints a picture of Eileen Southern dealing with all of the discrimination sexually, as in gender-wise, as well as because of her color. She found peace in doing the research. So there were these long hours wherein she researched, she read, she documented. That was her place of quiet. The second movement, and let me say this, so the second and third movements are, Eileen Southern's book was divided into 4 parts. The first part was called Sung in a Strange Land. And it deals with when the Africans first came here. Then there was the second part, which was called Go Down Moses. The third part was called Blow the Trumpet. And then the fourth part was called Lift Every Voice and Sing. In the second movement, you will hear the second and third parts. So for every part, she had a title, and then she had a description that could be either a hymn or a spiritual. So you'll hear in the second movement, if I have this correctly, you will hear Sung in a Strange Land. And in that particular song, you will hear that I tried to have this song describe what was in the chapters of those particular parts. In that second movement, you will hear that the Africans have come to this strange land, and they're told by the slave master to sing these joyful songs, and they say, well, how can we sing our songs of Zion in this strange land? And why? Because we're being wasted away. And in the midst of that, I put in the spiritual Go Down Moses, because, no, am I confusing songs? Is that correct?
I think the second one's Go Down Moses, the third one's the Song of the Strange Land.
Oh, the second one, I'm confused. Look in the program notes. But it's there. It's there, but it's there. What I'm telling you is in the program notes, but the end, so what I tried to do musically was cover all that the African and the African Americans had gone through until we get to Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is the very last part. So my work hopefully takes you through the troubles, the tensions of the slave and the blacks trying to make their music and sing in a land that was so hard for them. But as always in the spiritual and in black music, there's this tension between the struggle, and it ends with the hope of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Amazing, amazing. Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to experience it. Dr. Garrett, tell us about your piece or pieces.
So my piece is titled Cantate Domino. And if you think the translation, Sing unto the Lord a New Song. So what is this new song? It expresses her book, not using the parts, but talking about what she did in the book. She talked about 2 different expressions of music that Black Americans gave us. They have the idiomatic music. We're thinking spirituals, gospel, jazz, the things that are typically associated with us, but also that non-idiomatic, the concert music. So I took a spiritual, probably very little known spiritual titled Let Us Praise Him, and I augmented the rhythms and used it in a similar way that some of our Renaissance and Baroque composers would do. Use it as a cantus firmus and have some fantasy-like things going on around that. But instead of using the spiritual text, use the Latin text and just allow there to be some call and response moments and a little syncopation, but in the end, a concert piece that hopefully expresses the joy that she had when she finished writing that book, because I'm sure that she was very happy to be done.
Awesome. Really can't wait to experience that. The phenomenal Devon Gates, tell us about your piece or pieces.
This piece I actually wrote before I knew that it would be premiered at this event, but it actually is based on the verse of the Bible that people read at weddings. So it does have a spiritual connotation in a way. Meditation on 1 Corinthians 13. It's an original text that I wrote sort of in conversation with the text as a response. Me as an individual, or one as an individual reading these words that are so ancient and spoken so often, but what do they really mean? So it's really a meditation or an exploration of that, with the choir sort of at times representing the text, and me as a soloist in dialogue with them. I hope to also embody, love, joy, these feelings, these emotions that the piece talks about through some improvisation sections, which are exciting for me and for the members of the choir who do not often normally do that. So I'm excited that they're also trying something new. They're also doing the piece memorized for the first time tonight, which is exciting. In true jazz fashion, we will see what happens.
I can't wait. This is great. Let me do a time check. Can't see that clock up there. How much time? It's time for music. Please give some love and celebrate Dr. Rosephanye Dunn-Powell. Dr. Marques L.A. Garrett. Dr. Felicia Barber. And for one of your own, the phenomenal Devon Gates. It's been great to be with you. Enjoy the concert.
accordance with Sanders policy, all patrons must remain masked while in the building. If you need a mask, please see a member of our usher staff for assistance. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. The use of cameras and recording equipment is prohibited. Please take a moment to identify the nearest exit. In addition to the 6 regular exits, there are 2 emergency exits located at the back of the mezzanine and balcony levels. Thank you.
You guys are so responsive. That was really for the other choirs, but...
When all of God's when we get together, what a day of healing. Oh, nothing but joy and peace. Oh, when all of God's children, when we get together, what a time. All of God's. Oh, yes, every one of us when we get together. Oh, what a day of healing love. Joy and peace. When all of God's children, every one of us, God's children, get together. Oh, I'm talking about a time. Let me tell you how it's gonna be. Gonna see all God's children singing in harmony. And it won't make a difference, our differences, we stand together as one, yeah. And our rejoicing will rise high as the listening skies. I can't wait to see that day. One of these mornings, one of these mornings, one of these mornings, yeah. Oh, when we all get together, yeah. What's it gonna be? Yeah. Oh, what a day of healing.
have a time. Oh, what a time. What a time. I can't wait to get there. We're gonna have a time. Oh, what a time. What a time. Oh, day of rejoicing. We're gonna have a time. Oh, what a time. We're gonna have a good time. Oh, what a time. I'm gonna put on my long white robe and have a good time. What a time. What a time. I'm gonna put on my crown and yes, have a time. Oh, what a time.
just a poor wayfaring stranger. I'm passing through this land of woe, and there's no sickness, toil, or danger in that pure land to which I go. Soon I will be done with the troubles of this world, the troubles of this world, the troubles of this world. Oh, soon I will be done with the troubles of this whole world. I'm going home to me with God. I'm going home to meet my God.
Hold on a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Just hold on a little while longer, and everything will be all right. You know, every little thing will be all right.
But sister, I want to see my mother. Oh, I want to see my mother. Oh, I need to see my mother. So I'm going home. I'm going home to meet with God. Oh, I need to go home and meet with God.
Oh, brother, just pray on a little while longer. You gotta pray, 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 pray on a little while longer. Pray on down on your knees. You gotta pray on a little while longer. And everything will be all right. Oh, God's gonna make everything to be all right.
But they tell me there'll be no more weeping and wailing. There'll be no more weeping and wailing. There'll be no more weeping, no wailing. I need to go home. think I'll sing on.
Hold on. Pray on.
Just a little while. I believe I can
Sing on.
sing on.
A little while longer.
And everything. Oh, I believe. And everything is gonna be all right. Don't quit. Don't stop. Hold on. Don't you dare give in. Though your wait has been long and you no longer feel strong, you have a reason to keep holding on. You have a promise, it's a guarantee you will reap if you don't fail. Don't quit, don't stop. Hold on, don't you dare give in. Though your wait has been long and you no longer feel strong, there is a reason for you to keep holding on. You have a promise, it's a guarantee you will reap if you don't fail. Be not weary in well-doing. In time your harvest will come. So just be thankful for what God has promised you'll reap if you don't faint. Oh, so be not weary in your well-doing, for in time your harvest it will come. I know that it will come. Just learn to be thankful for what God has promised you will reap if you don't fail. Don't fail. Don't fail. Don't fail.
Professor Shelley? Where's Dr. Shelley? There he is! Dr. Braxton Shelley, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Eileen Southern Initiative, which includes so many folks from near and far, we welcome you tonight. My name is Andrew Clark. I'm the Director of Choral Activities at Harvard University, and we're here tonight to lift up the legacy and life of Professor Eileen Southern. I think I can speak for my colleagues and for the over 200 students singing tonight that Professor Southern is still teaching us, inspiring our minds and stirring our souls as an exemplar of excellence, of integrity, and of dignity. So the music we make tonight, the messages we share, in some measure aims to offer our gratitude to her 20 years after her passing. And we do this tonight in a time that is harsh, a time that is bleak. And we want to hold in our hearts tonight all of those around the world facing calamity, including those facing catastrophic violence in the Ukraine and all over the world. It can be really hard to try and feel into this, to wrap our head around this. But I remember the words of Professor Cornel West, who would tell his students here and elsewhere, as long as we're singing, despair doesn't have the last word. As long as we're singing, despair doesn't have the last word. So how does singing fend off despair? This is what Eileen Southern taught us. And one of those answers might come in the words of the composer of the next piece, Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan, who once said, "When we sing, we announce our existence. When we sing, we announce our existence." And this experience for us of having the opportunity to continue to learn from Professor Southern and so many others, the great tradition of black music sings into the existence of truth-telling, of resilience, of ingenuity, and possibility, of courage, of trust, and of joy. So we thank you for being here, and I want to take an opportunity right now to offer an applause of thank you to Professor Southern. Will you join me?
Unity that brings us together.
As we invite the Harvard Glee Club to the stage, I just want to take a brief moment for a little plug. So the title of our weekend is Lift Every Voice. And tomorrow at 11 o'clock, just out here in the Science Center, you'll have an opportunity to join us in this participatory art form in a community sing, just an hour long outside. Our friends, the Aeolians, will be there, members of our choruses, our special guests. So we invite all of you to sing with us tomorrow at 11. I'd like to invite back to the stage my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Brandon Waddles.
Somebody's calling my name. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Jack Megan. I'm director of the Office for the Arts. Welcome. What an amazing night. Huge thank you to all the choruses and a gigantic welcome to the Aeolians. We're so thrilled to have you here, honored to have you here. On this occasion, when we are celebrating the legacy of the pioneering historian, music scholar Eileen Southern, we want to take a moment to give an award. And the award is in the name of another pioneering historian and musicologist and musician and teacher. Her name was Louise Voskirchen, Professor Louise Voskirchen. Louise Voskirchen taught here from 1958 until 1991. She was a pioneer, as I say, a kind of trailblazer. She was the first female chair of the Harvard Music Department. She taught luminaries like Yo-Yo Ma, John Adams, and many, many others. She was beloved for her passion for music, for her really infectious kind of curiosity that stirred so many students, and her ability to meet every student where they were, whether they were incredibly accomplished musicians or they were people who didn't even know if they really liked music, but by the time they left her class, they had a passion. After she passed away, an award was established, a teaching award. And to tell you more about that award, in a moment, I'm going to invite my colleague Ingrid Munson to speak. But first, I'd like to bring to the stage, and would you welcome conductor, composer, scholar, Dr. Rosephanye Powell. So, this award that was established in Louise Voskirchen's name was to celebrate people who carry forward the qualities that Louise brought to her teaching and her interaction with students. This sort of selfless, deep devotion to learning, to connecting, and to lifting up individual voices and collective voices in music. To tell you more about Dr. Powell, I'm going to hand this off to my colleague, Ingrid Munson.
Thank you very much, Jack, and welcome so much, Dr. Rosephanye Powell. I'm Ingrid Munson. I'm the current chair of the music department, and I'm just delighted to be part of the team that is welcoming Dr. Rosephanye Powell to Harvard this evening. Dr. Rosephanye Powell is one of our country's premier composers of choral music. She has an enormous catalog of sacred and secular works for large and small ensembles, ranging from full orchestra with chorus to solo song with piano accompaniment. Her works have been widely published and recorded, and she has won many awards, including the Living Legend Award from California State University in 2009. As a singer and lecturer recitalist, she has particular expertise in the work of William Grant Still and African American spirituals. She has both edited and written the introduction for an anthology of William Grant Still's art songs. She holds a Doctor of Music from Florida State University and is a professor of voice and many other things at Auburn University. We were so delighted that she accepted our commission to write a piece in honor of Eileen Southern that you will hear in the second half. It's the piece called The Quiet Revolutionary. We warmly welcome her to Harvard and are proud to offer her the Louise Voskirchen Teaching Award, an award that has gone previously to Andre Watts, Marin Alsop, Sweet Honey in the Rock, and Gustavo Dudamel. Thank you so much for being here. And now I'd like to turn to Maddie Faber, who will share her experiences of working with Dr. Rosephanye Powell.
I believe I speak for all of my fellow singers when I say it has been such an honor to work with you and on the work that you created this past spring. Thank you so much for your time and dedication. You bring such enthusiasm and passion to the room, inspiring and uplifting every single singer that has the honor to be in your presence. So thank you so much.
Well, hello, everyone. Hey, y'all. My name is Xavier Evans. I am the president of the Harvard-Radcliffe Collegium Musicum, and I am a junior studying computer science and linguistics. Now, Dr. Powell, the way that you have engaged with us and these other choirs this week has been so impactful, so insightful, so contextualizing. It wasn't just reading the notes, the words, the music on the page. It was so far beyond that, particularly the way that you so vividly, ever so vividly, described Langston Hughes. He's sitting there toiling away at his poem to you, and then relating that back to your setting of that very same text and To Sit and Dream. It was just really, really inspiring to see. And so I just think I speak for everyone here that's singing today when I just say that you're amazing. We absolutely love you. We've been really just so happy to work with you. And yeah, just excited to continue singing for y'all today. Thank you.
I'll hold this for you.
You hold it for me.
I'll hold this for you. We've rehearsed this, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, right. Carefully, as you can tell. So this is the award. Okay. And I'm going to read the citation. The Office for the Arts at Harvard and Harvard University Department of Music present the 2022 Louise Viscarsian Teaching Award to Rosephanye Powell for her rigorous dedication to the power of music education, her extraordinary artistry and devotion to young artists worldwide. Her music and passion have touched all our lives. Harvard University honors Rosephanye Powell with this award given in the name of Louise Viscarsian, a beloved teacher and the former Walter W. Naumburg Professor of Music Emerita, Harvard University Department of Music. Thank you so much.
Let me begin by saying I'm speechless, and that is a rarity for me. So I want to thank the Office for the Arts at Harvard and the Department of Music. I want to say thank you, because teaching is like parenting, and I think Professor Viscarsian, as well as Eileen Southern, could say, all of us who teach knows you give so much of your heart and yourself. And like parenting, you generally don't get a pat on the back. You know what I mean? Your kids don't generally come up and say, hey, thanks, Mom. You know, so I want to say thank you all. And it's especially meaningful for these two women that we're celebrating tonight. Each of them did things and broke barriers that no one anticipated they would do. And so for me to be a female to receive this tonight, I am all the more honored. Thank you. particular poem is one of my favorite by Langston Hughes, and though he wrote it many years ago, it speaks to the times in which we live. To sit and dream, to sit and read, to sit and learn about our world of here and now, our problem world. To dream of vast horizons of the soul, of dreams made whole, unfettered, free. Help me, all you who are dreamers too. Help me make our world anew. I reach out my hand to you. I reach out my hand to you.
try. My love displays no jealousy. I softly kiss your cheek and try to speak in the tongues of angels. Show me how to live in depth and breadth and truth, embodied in my youth. To know fully as I am fully
A It was Michelangelo who said when he looked up at his work of art, which he was inspired to create, and he said, "True art is made noble and religious by the mind producing it. For nothing makes the soul so religious and pure than the endeavor to create something perfect. For God is perfection, and those who strive after perfection are striving after God." And no matter your belief system tonight, we are in the business of that word, endeavoring to create something perfect. Tonight has been absolutely fabulous thus far, and so we give. And I was torn. Am I in the halls of erudition tonight or church? and I think we're experiencing a little bit of both. This next piece has some great text that you may recognize, set by a wonderful young composer, Joel Thompson, with a magnificent piano part, and I hope you'll enjoy the setting of Hold Fast to Dreams.
Free at last, free at last. What happens for those who have dreamed deferred? Does it try Hold fast to God's going to build up Zion's walls.
I've been redeemed by the dying Lamb.
God's going to build up
Practice this, but can you do this with us? Yes, stay right there. You put some swag with it, more swag. Yeah, I see you, Shola. That's it, yeah. Just lay into it. Scat. Scat. Ah.
No color can come between us, no shade to be thrown, no tone be taken to demean us, no hue of made to be shown, no color, no shade, no tone, let me be transparent with you. No color, no, no, oh no. Whose history is whose history is who's walking in whose shoes, who's making whose rules, who's learning in whose schools, whose history, whose shoes, whose rules. Let me be transparent with you. No color, no, no, oh no. More love is our intentions. Did we forget to mention that we are more alike than we are different? United we take a stand, ignited with hand in hand to build a band of harmony. No time to wait, don't hesitate. No color can come between us, no shame to be thrown, no tone be taken to demean us, no hue or hate to be shown, no color, no shade, no tone. Let me be transparent with you. Let me be transparent with you. There's a love so strong within me. There's a hope to be found within me. There's a fire to light your eyes within me. There's a love to share within me. There's a need to bear within my heart. Is a risk to bear. No color can come between us. No shade to be thrown. No tone be taken to demean us. No hue or hate to be shown. No color, no shade. No color, my sister, no shade. No color, no shade, no tone. Let me be transparent with you. Let me be transparent with you. Let me be transparent. No color. Yes, Lord, yes. Yes, Lord, yes. Yes, Lord, yes. Yes, I got a song. I got yes, I got a song. They can't sing, God gave me a song. Angels can sing. Oh, I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. Yes, Lord. I got a song. I got yes, I got a song. They can't sing, God gave me a song. Angels angels can sing. Oh, I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. Yes, Lord. Well, now if you don't believe I've been redeemed, just follow me down to the Jordan stream. Jordan River, chilly and cold. Well, it chilled my body, but not my soul. Yes, I got a song that I got yes, I got a song that they can't sing. God gave me a song that the angels can sing. Oh, I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. Yeah. We
It's stated in your program in one short sentence, but I just want to make this really, really clear. There's such a strong connection between the activities of these last couple of days and what we do in Huntsville, Alabama. Dr. Eva B. Dykes was the first African-American woman in the United States of America to get a PhD right here on your grounds. And she was the lady who was inspired to start this group called the Aeolians. And 75 years ago, she started this group down in Huntsville. But who knows when that dream was birthed? It could have been born right here. So Andy, I want to pay you special tribute, and to all your supporting staff for making this happen in such a fortuitous year. Fortuitous because it's the 75th anniversary of this group. Fortuitous that in a couple weeks I'll be leaving this group. And a new leaf of that symphony will be turned. This symphony called the Aeolians. And you know, I was a little nervous with the time, but since you guys are here, Frankie, could you take me to that little song in F? I don't really know this tune. Yeah. I don't really know this song, but we'll wing it. He woke me up. And he helped me see another day. Anybody testify to that this afternoon? Let's sing that verse one more time. He woke me up and
He started me on my way. He gave me strength in my body. I'm here to say that I have so many reasons. So many reasons. So many reasons to rejoice. That's why we sing rejoice. Rejoice in the name of the Lord. You better rejoice because He has been good. So many reasons, so many reasons, so many reasons to rejoice in the name of the I have so many reasons. I know that you have a reason because you're standing here tonight. It's not a coincidence. I have life in my body. I have the peace of the Lord. I have so many reasons. I have so many reasons to
I'm trying to let it go. I have. As we leave you with this last song that we would do before we go to our commission pieces. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm having a little moment here. It's been 14 long years, you know what I mean, Emmett? Down in Huntsville, Alabama. And a place that we tend to make bricks out of straw sometimes. And just thinking about all those things. But anyway, William Dawson, one of the deans of the African American musical tradition, the choral tradition, penned this very simple arrangement, but so powerful. And I want to leave this with you. There is a balm in Gilead.
Tell the love of Jesus.